Good evening, everybody. Meeting, meeting again with the Organon series, and we are learning the most practical part of the case taking from Hahnemannian point of view. We have started with the 83 aphorism, where the qualities of homeopathic physician in order to take a chronic case, he has explained over there. And he explained the four qualities, that is the freedom from prejudice. The second is sound senses. The third thing, attention in observing. And fourth one, fidelity in tracing the picture of the disease. And all of them are very, very important qualities. And thereafter, we have started discussing about the aphorism. In the aphorism 84, he started explaining there are three basic sources from which you get the case. The patient himself, who will going to narrate his case. Second is attendant, who gives you three important things. He used to tell you what he has observed in case, then what patient told to him, whatever regarding the patient, he will going to tell you. And third, his own observations, what he has noticed. Then the third important source is the physician, who used to listen the patient, who used to observe the patient, who used to understand all the circumstances, and he will pursue the patient. And then he started explaining what to do. Here he started explaining about the thing that he writes down each and every sentence as it is explained or narrated by the patient in the very expressions. Because those expressions are very important, with which you find it out the individuality. The second thing, he explained that keeping silence himself, he should keep the silence unless and until the patient wanders off. So don't interrupt. That is most important hint which he has given over there. The third important thing he has mentioned over there, he should ask to start with the case to the patient, that he must talk or speak slowly so that he can write down each and every word explained by him. Then in the next aphorism, he explained that every sentence, whatever the patient has uttered, or every symptom, whatever the patient has uttered, you should write it down on a separate line. So afterwards, if you want to complete that symptom, which is explained vaguely earlier, that you can complete and write it down over there in that space. Then he explains that what are the, after completing narration from the patient, then there are some precise questions which are necessary in order to complete the symptom. Many times patient gives you a vague symptoms because he is very much familiar with the allopathic mode of case taking, and they never ask the details. And those details are necessary for homeopathic point of view. In order to furnish or complete that picture, the certain specific questions are very much necessary, and many examples of those questions which he has explained over there, which we have learned in last lecture in the aphorism number 86. Now we have to turn towards the 87, where he starts what you should not do. So don'ts he explains over there. So he starts with the don'ts of the case. First he has explained what you should do. Now he starts with the don'ts. So let us understand what he wants to explain over there. He says over there in the 87 aphorism, and thus the physician obtains more precise information respecting each particular detail, but without ever framing his question so as to suggest the answer to the patient, so that he shall only have to answer yes or no. See how much precise the Hahnemann is first, important. He explains that how you should form your question. He says over there, you should not ask the question which will suggest the answer either in yes or no. Because if you ask question, do you like sugar? Either you have two options, yes or no. Do you sweat? You say yes or no. So these are the things which happens off and on. When you have to put a question, put such a question where patient will going to explain his complaint. So your question should be like that. How is your perspiration? So patient explains about it. He never says yes or no. If you want to ask regarding the desires and aversions, then your question should be, what do you like in your food? What type of food do you like more? So question should be a proper one, so that it should not be lead towards the directly towards the yes or no answer. Such types of questioning confuses the patient, and he will take one chance. He will either say yes or no reluctantly, because he doesn't know what impact it will going to do in his on his case, on his remedy. And that's why it is too much necessary to understand exactly the what type of question, the framing of the question should be a proper one. So see what he says: so that he shall only have to answer yes or no, else he will be misled to the answer in the affirmative or negative, something untrue, half true, or not strictly correct, either from indolence. Indolence म्हणजे काय? Indolence means आळशीपण. Either from indolence or in order to please the interrogator. Interrogator, those the person who used to take the interview, or a physician, from which a false picture of disease and an unsuitable mode of treatment must result. So what will happen if you go with this? What may be the possibility? Patient will, if you ask question, what do you like more? The answer will be, he will going to explain. But if you ask, do you like sweets? Is he considered? Yes, yes. Many times such types of questions gives you vague answer. Do you like salt? He says, yes, thoda far. All those questions doesn't give anything to you. It will not give you details. If you take sweet desire for, you can, what happens? Your search for the remedies goes to that rubric only, and you miss the main remedy because you have taken it as a desire. Really, it is a desire. Really, it is a craving that you cannot get with such types of questions. So framing the question is the is a intellectual thing where you have to utilize really your intellect. Make a habit of framing the question. I have done very much work regarding it. And that's why my questions generally, when I used to start with the case taking after preliminary data, when I ask the question in such a manner that patient will go on talking, explaining about his complaints in detail. I used to tell plainly, you please explain me how your disease has started right from the start till today. Explain me in detail. जर तुम्हाला जिथपासून आजाराची सुरुवात झाली तिथपासून आतापर्यंत काय काय आणि कसं कसं होत गेलं हे सगळं सविस्तर सांगा. If your question is like that, patient will explain. Just don't ask what is your problem. He can, I'm having headache. Finish. You are nowhere. If you get such type of answer, you never get anything. But if your question is that what is your problem, instead of you put a question, tell me what you have since right from the beginning and tell me it in detail. You ask like that, then patient starts, doctor, what has happened since last 6 months? I have started getting the headache. It was earlier I used to get it every 15 days or 3 weeks time, but nowadays the frequency is too much increased. Now since last 1 month I am getting it daily. And I used to start that this it starts from the occiput, then it comes up and then it settles over my left hand. And it troubles me. Along with that, I have very severe eye pain also. I cannot open the eye. If I open the eye, it pains more. Sometimes I get palpitation. Whenever it starts, I get palpitation. Now he is giving you the remedy. He is explaining the things to you. Because your question was perfect. If you put such a question, then you get. If you put what is your problem, he says headache. He says migraine, because he has already labeled by some physician by the name of migraine. What is your problem? My problem is migraine. And you are nowhere because migraine is not given in your repertory. So question should be a very, very proper one. This is too important. You should ask it in a proper manner and make a habit of creating your own questionnaire. How will you going to put question? That matters a lot. So every time, not regarding main problem only, many questions you can ask, and all those questions should be formed in a proper manner. You go on asking. If you want to ask about the patient's nature, if you put question, how is your nature, तुमचा स्वभाव कसा आहे, everyone will going to say, डॉक्टर एकदम छान मस्त. He will going to tell you, well, very nice, good. That's all. What you have got? Zero. You are nowhere because your question was not good. If you want to ask regarding nature of the person, this should not be question. You have to ask it indirectly. You have to ask how many people are there in your house. How is your relations with all of them? So how was your life right from जिथपासून आठवतं तिथपासून आतापर्यंत, right from the time you recollect, you tell me everything right from that till today. How was your life? Then patient goes on narrating. Patient asks you, what exactly do you want? I want everything. All the ups and downs in your life. Ask them so that they will going to start with their way. How was the life right from the childhood till today? If she is a female married, you ask it, how was your life before marriage, since childhood, before marriage, and after marriage, in two different parts. Explain me in detail. Then you get the future. Then the patient starts narrating. Doctor, it was very good when I was child. There was no botheration at all. Everything was so fine that whatever I want to do, I used to do at my maternal house. But things are completely changed when I got married. Here, there are everywhere restrictions. There are many things in my mind. I want to do this, I want to do that, but I could not. There is restriction. If I want to ask or if I want to purchase only for 20 rupees, I have to take the permission. This disturbs me a lot. See, patient is giving you a case directly. She is narrating her rubrics directly. You are getting the rubrics, very clear rubrics. Patient explains those things. What is the rubric which you can get if patient says like that? You get the remedy directly over there. You ask them one more question. What do you do? Doctor, I do a job. I used to go to the job, and really, I want to tell you, whenever I will be there in the job, I am always happy. But what happens? Before going to job, I have to wake up at 4 o'clock. I have to prepare everything for every member, their tiffins and everything, and then I have to go for job. And when I come again I have to prepare a dinner. So it takes nearly about 10 to 11 to get sleep. I could not get the rest. I become so irritable because of that. So much of exertion is there. Patient is telling you whole story and remedy directly because your questionnaire was good. The question itself suggests you directly a rubrics one by one. What are the rubrics? Rubrics are very simple. The first is anyone tries. Remedy is also clear. Dominated is the rubric, but how will you take it? Simple rubrics. Elements from domination. Okay, agreed. Second, undertake things opposed to her intention. Third, irritability exertion from. Finished. Sepia. No other remedy. And you get many sepias in India. This is the state of the Indian woman. Very common state. Occupation diversion amel rates. Yes, another thing. She likes occupation because everything, she forgets everything. Whenever she is at the level of occupation, she forgets everything. That is what is the sepia is there. So this is the theme of sepia. You get it when your question is very clear. And that's why my suggestion to all of you is that this is what Hahnemann wants to explain. That you should not say yes or no or such types of question. It doesn't give anything. You should not ask such types of questions, but your question should be precise enough to get all data from the patient. And patient should be happy to tell you all those things. You must gain the confidence of the patient when you put a right question. Your tone of asking the question should be a proper one. The way you put a question, the tone of your voice matters a lot. Many times it happens, you put a question in such a tone that it touches, and that patient starts narrating, and while explaining, she starts weeping, telling her sickness when. That is another sapient. And these are things which matters a lot. So whenever you deal with the chronic cases, communication plays a very vital role. Second important thing, when you are looking towards the patient, always look toward the face of the patient and starts reading the face of the person. Don't look down. Many students, they used to write this. This is not this. You should be there and you write over there. Two things you must do at the same time. That is very important thing. This habit you have to develop. You have to sit in such a manner that you can write it down, at the same time you can watch patient. Because watching gives you many things. What are the expressions which changes on the faces of the patient. And those things which he wants to explain over there. He has given many examples of it. There is a footnote number 82. What type of questions should not be asked? So examples of 82 he mentions over there. And what he says in 82, for instance, the physician should not ask, was not this or that circumstance present? If you ask, असं घडलं होतं का? Is that happened at that time? Patient will say yes or no. He or she has to answer, that's all. So answer will be either yes or no. She has to please you or he has to please you. That is the question. And that's why either yes or no, you can get such types of answer. He should never be guilty of making such suggestions which tend to seduce. Seduce म्हणजे कुकर्म करण्यास प्रवृत्त करणे. To tell him or to stimulate him to answer in a wrong way. That is seduce. So he should never be guilty of making such suggestions which tend to seduce the patient into giving a false answer and a false account of his symptoms. And this happens many a time. If you put such types of questions, he is always in confusion, and then he answers yes or no. He thinks and immediately yes or no. That's all. And you never get the data which is necessary for your prescription. This is what is expected by Hahnemann, that such are the don'ts in the case taking. No leading questions which answers either in affirmative or negative manner. Such questions should not be asked to the patient. So forming the proper question is a very, very, very important thing in your case taking. And this, you have to create your own question. So make a habit whenever you are sitting idle. Make a habit. What type of question I will put? How will I frame my question? So if you develop such a questionnaire in your mind, you can put them in a proper manner. So when you ask, you want to ask the regarding patients, the reactions. Generally, I used to put the question that tell me your happiest event in your lifetime or happiest moment in your lifetime. What second question followed by that should be, what was your reaction at that time? Then another question generally I used to ask, which is the saddest moment of in your life and what was your reaction? What has happened? These things gives you a little detail about how the patient's nature is. Second important thing, when you ask that question, if patient says, if you ask the saddest moment and he's laughingly answer the case question, then consider whatever he's telling is not correct. Because if it is really sad moment in his life, the patient's face immediately turns sad. It should. Either there should be some weeping mood or some disturbed mood should happen at that time. So forming a right question is a very, very, very important thing in your case taking. And this is what he wants to explain over there in this 87 aphorism, that don'ts of case taking. Don't ask any leading question which have answer either in yes or no. Okay, is it clear with everyone? Now we'll turn towards the 88 and we have to give at least one lecture for this. This is too important. 88 aphorism is too important, where he has given everything regarding the patient. This is too important. Let us understand, every word matters a lot. What he says, if in these voluntary details nothing has been mentioned, replacing several facts or functions of the body or his mental state, the physician asks what more can be told in regard to these parts and their functions. Or, so first thing, if patient starts narrating, he starts giving you voluntary details and you get the symptom. Patient tells you like that, doctor, what is problem? I want to tell you, I have headaches since last 6 months. At the same time, I am having acidity also. And sometimes I get the chest pain also. That's all. This is my problem. Do you get any idea, any remedy, any individuality over there? Nothing is special, nothing is characteristic. So this is voluntary detail. You ask, if you put question, tell me in detail what exactly, how is your headache? Which are the factors which aggravates your headache? Which are the factors which decrease your headache? What do you do whenever you have a headache? Your precise question starts thereafter. Because unless and until you ask, you cannot get the detail. But these things you have to ask to complete your picture, to get details about each and every symptom. So this is first part which is necessary. But when things are chronic enough, patient is not in a condition will going to tell you all those details. Many a times it becomes habitual for the patient. And when things are habitual, the characteristics are always lost. If the patient has a constipation, it is habitual. He never tells you that he is having constipation because he becomes habitual to it. What to tell doctor? This is there since last 10 years. I never consider now this is as a disease. These things happens many times, and that's why when patient starts narrating and when he completes narrating, if you don't get the precise thing, then you cannot get the remedy. And this is what he is explaining. If in these voluntary details, nothing has been mentioned respecting several facts or functions of the body or his mental state. If you are not getting the mental state also at that time, then question arises. The physician asks what more can be told in regarding to these parts and these functions. So he asks precisely regarding all those things again. Or, and after or, there is one important thing which he has written, underline this, or the state of his disposition or mind. Two important things which he explains over there. State of his disposition. What is disposition? Anyone? What is state of disposition? Any idea? Many times people consider that state of disposition and mind, they are one and same. No. Mind is different, or mind. He has written or mind. That it itself suggests that these are two different entities. So what is the state of disposition? Any idea? I think I have taken one whole session on understanding the state of disposition and mind. One YouTube session I have taken on this state of disposition and mind. State of disposition or mind. Mind is, yes, definitely every person has a mind and everyone's mental attitude is different. The mind, the way the person reacts is his state of disposition. मन आणि मनाची प्रवृत्ती, कल, मनाचा कल, दिस इज द डिफरन्स. मन वेगळं आहे आणि त्याची वागण्याची पद्धत, त्याची एक्सप्रेशन, the way he expresses, the way he presents, that is disposition. The way it takes, there is variation. The mind is absolutely different. Mind, you understand the mind in the form of internal mind and external mind. Internal mind is purely of conscience. Whatever is there with us is external mind. It is voyage from external mind to internal mind when you give a right stimulus. External mind is full of many things, where there is a will and understanding, where there is a will and emotions, then intellect and understanding, then the memory, then logic. All those things are related with your external mind. Those works, that is what is mind. But the way it works is the disposition. The way it presents is the disposition. So disposition you can catch, you can perceive in the patient. That perception is very much needed. I think we'll learn that in next session. And this is what he says, but or the state of his disposition or mind, but in doing this, he only makes use of general expressions in order that his informants may be obliged to enter into the special details concerning them. So if you enter into the patient's state of disposition or understanding the mind, then you must enter into that specific part of the case taking. And it is really wonderful. Then you get many things in your case taking where you get the individuality. And it is this individuality you cannot miss at the which you have missed at the level of characteristic symptoms, because there were no characteristics in chronic. So that's why in chronic cases, the state of disposition and mind, these are two important points where you have to focus. And this is the, in fact, the crush of your case taking. It is there, the essence you get over there at the level of state of disposition. And I think we'll learn that in next session, because whole session I will going to give for this state, understanding the state of disposition or mind. I think I've taken that session, but if it is there with me, I will again do it for you, and that will guide you many things. So I think today we'll stop over here. We have learned the don'ts of case taking and how to form the questionnaire, how to form a proper question and how not to form the question. Both things which we have learned in today's session. And this total session regarding the case taking is very important, because we have to deal with chronic cases off and on. And second important, a good news for all of you. Tomorrow in the Divine School of Homoeopathy, I will be there as a guest invitee. So tomorrow's session will be on my platform. It will be open to everyone. It will not only for the Divine School members, but it will be open to everyone. Whoever your friends are there, ask them to join, and ask them to join with my passwords and my ID. This ID, regular sessions ID. So tomorrow evening we'll meet definitely at 9 o'clock. Evening session, yes, I will going to conduct. I will be there with the evening 6 o'clock session. Yes, it will be there. And followed by a 9 o'clock session with the something which is very important, the acute and chronic pancreatitis, homeopathy in acute and chronic pancreatitis. I will share the cases, two cases of one of acute and one of chronic, and how to deal with those cases. That I will going to share in tomorrow's session. So thank you being there, Dr. Warke sir, Ali, and everyone. Everyone is there. So Preeti, Jyoti, everyone, thank you being there. Karuna, Prasuna, we'll meet tomorrow evening. Is there any question? We have 4 minutes.
सर
Hmm.
सर थैंक यू, थैंक्स, लोड्स ऑफ थैंक्स। आप हर दफ़ा एक नई फीस्ट हमारे लिए ज़बरदस्त सी आ जाती है। अब तो कल बड़ा इंतज़ार रहेगा आपकी क्लास का। सर एक छोटी सी चीज़ ये है कि मेरी एक पेशेंट है, उनको डेंगू के बाद, उनको और उनके बेटे दोनों को, एंड बोथ आर माइनर थैलेसीमिया पेशेंट। और इनके डेंगी सर चला गया फीवर, उसके बाद जो है ना वो बंचेस ऑफ हेयर जो है ना उनके फॉलिंग शुरू हो गई। यानी कि वो नहाती हैं तो उसके बाद जो है ना उनके बाल वाल। अच्छा मैंने सर पहले तो कार्बोवेज दी तो वो काम नहीं किया उसने, फिर उसके बाद फ्लोरिक एसिड दी 200 में,
Hmm.
तो उसने भी एज सच काम नहीं किया। तो फिर मैंने कहा कि मैं आपसे कुछ मदद लूं।
एक एक symptom है hair fall after infectious diseases, and only one remedy in your remedy. I have told
हम्म।
it earlier, you forgot. It is thallium. Open the Borix
हम्म।
Matremedica and find it out. Thallium. You get thallium where in hair loss after the infectious diseases. It is the remedy for the, and thallium works in such types of cases.
राइट सर। मैं
You repeat it for 2-3 days and then stop because it is deep.
इन 30 सर।
30.
सर
30.
आजकल यहाँ पे काफी कोल्ड एयर बढ़ गई है कराची में। तो
Hmm.
जो बड़ी उम्र के लोग हैं, मेरी वालदा हैं जैसे, तो सुबह अर्ली मॉर्निंग जो है ना फजर के वक्त, वो लेफ्ट साइड पे उनको ना वीजिंग सा चू चू की आवाज आती है ना
Hmm.
लेफ्ट साइड से। और देर इज नो ब्रेथलेसनेस नथिंग। बस वो एक आवाज होती है जो फिर वो चलती हैं, वॉशरूम से आती हैं वापस, और देन बाय द टाइम डे गो ऑन तो फिर वो चीज गायब हो जाती है। तो वो उसकी वजह से थोड़ा सा एक थ्रेड में आ जाती है कि पता नहीं लंग से आवाज आ रही है, वो बड़ी अजीब सी, वो हमें भी सुनने को मिलती है
It is
वो।
because of obstruction of nose which happens due to the draft of cold air. Common remedy of this season is Hepar. It works. Hepar self in high potency in frequent doses.
राइट सर। सर हेपर 10 m
Yes,
और ऑलवेज गुड,
10
वेरी
few
वेरी गुड
doses,
रिजल्ट
two,
सर।
3 doses.
आपने बताया था, राइट सर। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Okay. So ask, I'm telling you, all of you, that just go and read the Borix Matremedica and Thallium. You'll never forget Thallium thereafter. It is a very good
श्योर
remedy
सर।
for such a thing. So thanks a lot, and we'll meet tomorrow at the same time.